Jeffro from Two Hacks Garage. Well, speaking of garages, I'm actually in my garage. You can probably see the corner over there is my 1968 Ford Thunderbird. Waiting on some parts on that. Took it out drag racing, had a whole lot of fun. Determined I needed to make a whole lot of changes, and I did break some stuff, as usual. That's what a 521 cubic inch big block Ford will do in a heavy car. That makes a whole lot of power. But we're not going to talk about that. Waiting on parts, more content on that. My nostalgia front engine dragster. Where are we at with it? What are we going to do? Well, last video you saw, my safety equipment did arrive. All the other videos before that was the 6-month build where Jimmy and I took this thing from ground up and made an awesome dragster. Well, early on, you saw that we had a Hillborn injection on there. Didn't quite work. We're going to do that at some point, but for right now, that's not quite in the budget, and we do need to source the correct parts for what we want to do, and we want to make sure we do it right. So we're going to take our time. So what's this video about? Well, after the Hillborn injection failure, we decided to put on a vintage breadbox tunnel ram and a pair of awesome Holley 450 CFM tunnel ram carbs. Now, mind you guys, these run flawlessly. They are awesome. I absolutely love them. However, these things suck race gas into this engine, 114 octane race fuel to be specific, and this thing doesn't have a cooling system. After playing around with it, getting it tuned and all that and checking temperatures, it gets too hot. We don't want to go and torch this engine just to go out and make the shakedown passes on it, which we're going to be doing soon. Here in a few weeks, we're going to actually get this out on the track, shake it down, and see what we need to do from there. Should be a whole lot of fun, and of course, I'll be making videos on that. So, back to what I'm talking about. Race fuel in an engine that doesn't have a cooling system, that's not actually that good. Could we get away with it? Maybe. We don't want to chance it. We don't have all the money in the world to be blowing up an engine and building another one. So what are we going to do, guys? Well, this thing was originally built to run on methanol. Methanol burns a lot cooler than gasoline. A lot cooler than gasoline. So what are we going to do, guys? Well, it's pretty simple. Have you ever seen a dragster with a pair of circle track carburetors that are meant for methanol? Probably not, because I haven't. Maybe it's been done. I don't know. So, well, I got me a couple. 500 CFM, 2-barrel, quick fuel, made by Holley, methanol carburetors. These are designed for methanol, and they are designed for a high flow rate of fuel. And you know what, guys? Fingers crossed, because I'm kind of going out on my mad scientist ideas here. I'm going to put 2 of these in place of 2 of these. I do have plans for these other 450s, because right over there and over there, I have a couple small block 283 Chevys. I'm going to do some really cool, old school, small block Chevy stuff with. Who knows? Maybe one of them is going to end up here. We shall see. Wintertime, I always get these weird thoughts in my head, and I start building. But anyway, let's get back to this. So yeah, I have 2 of these awesome quick fuel technology alky carburetors. And these aren't like E85 carburetors. These are meant for methanol. Methanol does burn a lot cooler, but it consumes a lot more fuel. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to bring you over here. I'm going to show you these carburetors in a little bit more detail and kind of go over what they are and why I'm going to use them. With that, guys, fingers crossed, this goes well, and my mad scientist ideas actually work. See you in a second. All right, so what are we working with here, guys? Well, it's quite simple. I gave Holley a call, told him what I needed, and you know what? This is what I got. These are the Holley Quick Fuel Technologies XP Series 500 CFM Circle Track 2-barrel carburetors designed for methanol. What a mouthful. Sorry, it's been a long day. These things are actually a pretty nice carburetor. I'm going to kind of go over a list real quick of what they offer. Down leg booster, no choke. It's got an aluminum main body on it, black anodized 2-circuit metering blocks. They're actually really nice. And the metering blocks the passages are huge because, like I said, methanol requires a ton of fuel. The throttle body has roller bearing seals for the shaft for a smoother operation. Dual inlet fuel bowls, which is kind of nice because you can put it on either side, and that is an AN fitting. So it makes fuel delivery pretty easy to hook up, and pretty well for the dragster. We try to use AN on everything. It's a lot safer. It's a lot more durable. You know what, guys? It also provides a cleaner look. It does have the black diamond coating for better corrosion protection, and that coating also offers a 6% reduction in fuel temperatures. Seeing I'm not running a cooling system, you know what? That's kind of key. High-speed air bleed size is 28. Idle air bleed size is 55. Primary main jet, get this, guys, is 128. Primary power valve size is 45. Primary pump nozzle size is 55, and the throttle bore is 1 11/16 of an inch. Here, flip that over, and you can kind of see pretty good size throttle bores on those. Like I said, these are actually what I would consider just a big boy 500 CFM. As you can see with those numbers I threw out there, the way these are designed is to provide a ton of fuel. Like I said, methanol requires a lot more fuel than gasoline. There is a lot of benefits to running methanol over gasoline. Methanol burns 60% slower than gasoline. It is still rated at 114 octane. That's the VP M1 fuel that I'll be running. Releases energy at the rate of 20% of gasoline, of gasoline. That's why the energy release on that's why you have a lot less heat being built up. The way this fuel is designed, it is able to exit that heat, absorb that heat, and get it out. The energy release on this isn't as violent, if you want to say, or volatile as gasoline, so that's kind of a good thing. So your heat is much, much lower. Yeah, it's able to kind of reduce your temperatures 30 to 40 degrees. However, some of the drawbacks on it, it is corrosive. And in some cases and applications, you might need 2.5 more times than gasoline. It is extremely forgiving on tune. You kind of want to run them a little bit pig rich per se. It'll pull through it. Unlike gasoline, that could present some problems there. Gasoline stoic ratio, I think, is 14 to 7 to 1. These are more like 6.5 to 1. It's like I said, the only downfall is methanol is extremely corrosive, but that's where the coating inside of all this comes in handy. There is a process, unlike race gas, that you have to do to drain everything. And at some point, we'll show that to you, but not in this video. We'll show that to you when it's all done. And also, running methanol, you do have to change your oil more often. If we were out racing with this probably a full weekend, you probably want to change that oil. It gets in there and makes it milky, kind of like what it does in nitro, but I'm not sure if it turns it green like nitro. So that's what we got to work with. These awesome quick fuel carburetors. I really dig them. What I ended up buying was a methanol fuel pump. It's the Holley Black. I bought the regulator for that, and I bought these awesome Holley XP adapter plates because I'm going to need them when I pull off these here, so it can go from the 4150 style 4-barrel to the 2-barrel. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I need to remove these, take this linkage off, and put those other carburetors on. Probably not going to get everything done in today. I just want to show you the install of the carburetors and all that fun jazz, and probably make another video on doing the rest of the fuel system. With that, guys, what do you think? Am I crazy, mad scientist idea to sit here and say, hey guys, circle track carburetors are going to work on a dragster? You tell me in the comments what your thoughts are. You can hurt my feelings. But you know what? I'm going to try it. I like trying new things. Maybe I'll learn something. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? See you in a minute. All right, guys. So the first step I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to remove these Holley 450 tunnel ram carburetors. If you look closely, basically 2 fuel lines. I'm going to try to reuse these. I'm not sure if I can yet. We'll see. But I'm going to have to remove this linkage, which I will reuse. I got to remove the actual throttle cable, which I'm going to plan on also reusing on that, and my throttle return spring. So yeah, before we install the XP 500s on this, we're going to have to get the old ones off. So you know what, guys? We better get to work. Get these bad boys off. See you in a few. All right, guys, as you can see, I got everything off. Those old carburetors, well, not old, they're old school looking. I got them set aside. I'm going to use this for another project down the road. Really like them. Great pair of carburetors. They'll serve a purpose. But next step on this, guys, is I do need to get these XP 500s mounted. And the way I'm going to do that is I am going to continue to use that spacer on here. I do like the spacer, and one thing that this does help out with here, it does bring it off the base of this tunnel ram, so all the throttle linkage on that side clears from hitting that. So kind of the plan with this is, guys, is these, I'm going to have a spacer on here, and these base plates are really nice. So basically what this allows to happen is, if you look here, this is, you know, obviously set up for a 4-barrel. This is an adapter to center that over here to make it adapt to a 2-barrel. And all you do is you put it on here like that. Obviously, you're going to have gaskets and stuff on there, and you're going to put your carburetors down on it. So, yeah, that's what I got to work with right now. So, yeah, the next step is, guys, is I am going to get stuff on here mounted and go from there. I'm not sure exactly how all it's going to work with the linkage and all that fun jazz. But you know what, guys? Hot rodding's fun, so I'm rambling. Really need to get to work. Let's say we get these XP 500s mounted on here, some linkage hooked up. See you in a few minutes. All right, so the carbs are installed. Like I said, that was going to be, it's going to have another video with this, guys, for the rest of the fuel system. This video was just showing you the installation of it. Neat part about this is it was direct center of where the other carbs were. So when I actually look down here, it's centered to the plenums that are going to the runners to the actual heads. My linkage for the actual throttle works. However, if you saw in there, I didn't put my throttle return spring on. I'll show you what that looks like. It's a universal kit meant for Holley carburetors. I didn't put it on there. There's one reason why. It's going to fit in here like this, and it'll connect to here. That'll have that snappy throttle spring that I had on here before. However, that being said, if you saw, this has dual inlet fuel bowls on it, which is a nice thing to have because here's the fitting that came on it right there. Well, I'm actually ordering a different fitting that's going to adapt to my existing fuel lines. It's going to be an 8AN to a 6AN. So this is 8AN. I need to use something else. Anyway, the problem with that is, if you look here, if I was to put that in here, there is a good chance that this is going to hit. So, part 2 of this video will be me putting in the new fuel fittings, hooking up the fuel lines, and making sure everything clears. I had to go over this, guys, when I originally did this tunnel ram setup, and I had to make some changes. In fact, let me kind of show you what I might have to change here. So yeah, there will be a part 2 video on my mad science idea on using methanol circle track carburetors on a dragster. So that's what I'm talking about, guys. If I put that throttle return spring in there, there's a good chance the fitting is going to hit right there. And there's also a good chance the fitting I'm getting might interfere with this. So this might actually have to be adjusted out and moved up here, which is fine. It's just a little bit of work. It's trial and error, guys. I had to do it on the tunnel ram setup that was previously on there with the Holley 450 carbs. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. They're installed. The throttle works. The linkage works. Everything went pretty easy on this. Really glad the way it went. Yeah, you know, oh, something really cool about this too, guys. That scoop that Jimmy and I made to work with a tunnel ram setup, it actually fits. The center to center is right on that. I'll go ahead and show you how that goes on there. So I'm going to be able to retain, sorry about the crappy camera work, trying to do two things at once. So I'm going to be able to retain this old school shark scoop. So yeah, pretty neat. I dig it. Really liking it. But yeah, there will be a part 2 on this on the fuel system. This video was just showing you the installation of the carbs. Who knows, guys? Maybe my crazy idea of using circle track methanol carbs will actually work on a dragster. Fingers crossed. Wish me luck. I might have lost my mind. Who knows? Maybe I came up with a good idea. See you in part 2.